Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with great recent recordings of the classics, answering your request to have modern recordings and modern sound of really old music. Sometimes, I don't think any of these conductors are dead. They're all alive, sort of, so far. And, that's really kind of cool. So we have living artists, and they're doing all this stuff since the turn of the 21st century. And today we present, this is actually, I think, really interesting, 5 Beethoven cycles for the new millennium. I don't think there is any more powerful evidence that the world of classical music performance is alive and well than this particular video, because it's Beethoven. It's stuff that's been recorded a bazillion times. And these are fresh, interesting, lively, distinctively different Beethoven Symphony cycles. You get all of them, the whole kit and caboodle in a box, because a lot of people like things in a box. I'll do the symphonies individually too, some of them at least. But I think that, today particularly, people tend to like collecting these things together, or at least artists like recording them together. I always thought it was better to do it the old-fashioned way, to spend 10 years at it, to do it slowly, one work at a time, let them digest it. Whether it was true or not, it gave a sense of the magnitude of the task and the significance of the music. Nowadays, people say, we'll do a Beethoven cycle this week, and they do all 9 symphonies, and you just toss them out in a box, and plooey, it's no big deal. Well, these are a big deal. These are splendid Beethoven cycles. And I think, and some of them were recorded over a period of years, actually. So, let's get to it, shall we? I think this is really kind of exciting and interesting. When I started to do this video, I said to myself, I'll do one Beethoven cycle. But then I said, wait a minute. There's a whole pile of them since the year 2000. Some of them extremely recent. And here we are. Riccardo Chailly with the Gewandhaus. Oh, there you go. I mean, Chailly, he's one of those conductors. He's done such beautiful work over the centuries, and he doesn't get a lot of credit for it, it seems to me. And this was recorded in, holy mackerel, wait a minute, I may have to find a magnifying glass to see. Wait a minute, where's my magnifying glass? Oh, there it is. Okay. There we are. Hi, I'm back. Okay. Yes, it always helps to have one of these suckers. Let's see, magnifying glass. 2011. There we go. 2011. Well, that's quite recent, and it's marvelous, and it shows Chailly's absorption, as do all of these Beethoven cycles, one way or another, by the way, of the period instrument revolution, which has changed the way a lot of this music is performed. That is, it's done usually with quicker tempos, with sharper rhythms from the trumpets and drums, with a little bit more accent, sometimes some obeisance to the absolutely crazy and ridiculous metronome markings, which we all know really we shouldn't pay too much attention to. It's very, very contemporary in that sense, but it's also the Leipzig Gewandhaus. I mean, an orchestra that has such a tradition in this music, and they're marvelous. They're exciting and beautifully recorded and great. So here's that one. Next, let's see, Osmo Vänskä with the Minnesota Orchestra. Now, these were recorded, 2004 to 2008. That's the dates. Those are the dates. So they're a little bit earlier than Chailly, but they still make the cut. Now, these are the first major recordings that Vänskä did when he took over Minnesota. They were very exciting. Really, really exciting performances by a wonderful orchestra, fabulously recorded by Bis. They all partake of Vänskä's super duper uber pianissimo. That was the first sign of several uncomfortable mannerisms to come, which defaced his subsequent Sibelius and Mahler cycles. But in Beethoven, it was all shipshape and smooth sailing, and this is a very, very fine modern cycle, again influenced by the period instrument folk, but with the modern orchestra playing modern instruments with all the necessary weight of tone and excitement, and yeah, it's really, really good. So there's Vänskä. Then, again with the Gewandhaus of Leipzig, they seem to be popular these days, Herbert Blomstedt's second Beethoven cycle. Now, his first one was with the Staatskapelle Dresden, and it's fabulous too. You can find it either on Berlin Classics or on Brilliant Classics, who licensed it. And it's a wonderful Beethoven cycle, but in his elderly age, he remade all the Beethovens. He claims taking cognizance of the period instrument movement, but now not so much. It's not that different from his first cycle. And he knows, when to apply the treatment and when to just be himself, which is really a good thing. These are beautiful, beautiful performances, obviously done by an artist of enormous experience and thoughtfulness, looking back on a illustrious career from the wisdom and serenity of old age. I mean, Blomstedt's still working. He's in his 90s. So let's see, what year was this? Oh, this was, there it is, 2017. So this is extremely recent and extremely good. And it's, well, marvelous that this stuff is still coming out and we still have these things. So that one's really good. Here's one that probably everybody overlooked, and they should not, because it's really first class. Marek Janowski. Now, Janowski is one of those, he's sort of a conductor's conductor, a musician's musician. He specializes in unusual and contemporary music. He was, one of the lodestones of the Entartete Musik series on Decca. He's a very reliable conductor, but not always a tremendously exciting one, And here he's done absolutely terrific work. He did a Bruckner cycle. This is on PentaTone. He did with them a Bruckner cycle with the Swiss Romande Orchestra that had some great and some not so great performances. His Brahms in Pittsburgh was stunning. It was absolutely first class. And so is this Beethoven. This is the closest to the more traditional style of Beethoven conducting, but traditional in the more, on the more classical side of things. And it's really exceptional. And he recorded these, 2018, 2019. And who talks about, well, of course, they weren't promoted, they weren't sold, nobody mentioned them, nobody noticed, nobody cared. It's the usual crap with the record labels. But it's definitely worth considering and worth hearing. It's superbly well played and just effortlessly musical. He's a conductor who's similar in that respect to Blomstedt. He doesn't intrude himself into the natural flow of the music. You're more conscious just of things going well and everything sounding right. And it definitely does there. So that's worth considering. And last but not least, the most avowedly period instrumenty of all of them is Paavo Järvi with the Deutsche Kammerphilharmonie Bremen. Now these are on RCA. They claim to use the Barenreiter new or text edition, as if that makes any difference. It doesn't. And this was released, well, these were recorded over a period of time, but according to this, let's see, the whole box was released in 2016. So that's also quite recent, less than 10 years old at time of making this video, and these are thrilling. I reviewed all the individual discs at classicstoday.com. You can go over and read those reviews if you like. And I do want to talk about one issue that comes up with this and all of these series, which is really interesting. This, of all the period instrument performances of these things I've heard, is the most successful in the ninth, because that's the symphony that does not work when you apply these period precepts, as often as not. It's just bigger, it's grander, it's more forward-looking, it looks into the future. It's a very different style as being late Beethoven from most of the earlier ones, and it needs to be treated almost sui generis as its own cosmos. And all of these cycles that I've just pointed out, however much they may partake of the period instrument sauce. Do not sauce
the ninth,
because it has to have more than that. You can't reduce it to a series of performance practice precepts. You have to play the living daylights out of it. And they do. It's very, very successful. And I'm very happy that it drives home what makes these cycles distinctive is the fact that each of these conductors has their own approach and doesn't just, parrot the party line. They adapt it to their own interpretive vision of the Beethoven symphonies. And that's what makes the music fresh. And that's what makes us want to listen to it endlessly. And that's why these are 5 Beethoven cycles that serve us well in the new millennium. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.